All right. So basically, I want to give a rundown of mostly how we just got the creative items, how we did endgame for Enigmatica 2 Expert before I accidentally delete the server or just forget too much. Along with just a basic rundown of like just the base in general, I guess. So we started out here, like in this area. Mari heavily terraformed it by this point. But yeah, so we basically would just, like, early game would just lay all of our machines on the ground and shit, not really thinking too much about where they went. It wasn't like we were doing automation out here, so just to get things up and running. The most important thing about early game for us was just planning and being efficient with stuff. So, like, for example, like, we knew that a lot of seed oil would be necessary for impregnated sticks, which are for these basic coils, which make the tubings, which make all the advanced generator stuff, so like turbines and the controllers. And you need a fucking lot, like an insane amount. So like well before you even start gathering the materials for the turbines, seed oil needs to be in production. So we had that going probably day one. Just I think we had a cloche with, I think we used watermelons. Yeah, this was pretty easy to make. The reason we used watermelons was, I think it's just melon, yeah, because it breaks down into 9 like actual things to be squeezed to make the seed oil. Not crusher, not fermenter. Squeezer. Oh, duh. It has to be made into seeds. And then it gets squeezed into the seed oil. So stuff like that. From there, I mean, over time, I think probably like day 3, we started building this and getting stuff moved into here. All of this didn't happen for a while. It was just getting stuff in the lab. Like this is all advanced rocketry, so that happened much later. But getting the lab going, so using the builder to hollow everything out, getting the general structure so that we could start putting the machines in place and getting our ME system going so that we could start automation. So like if I go in here, this is all the automation. Fun, right? I'll go over that more later. I'm going to show just the outside a bit more. So like Astral was over here. Mari took care of all of Astral. I didn't do shit with that. I don't know how to do Astral. Never bothered. Am I going crazy? Why is my vertical speed so bad? No, what's my... Whatever, I forget the bind. Mystical Agriculture was out here. This was just for general resources. I think the idea was we're gonna try at some point to turn this into singularity stuff, but once this was set up, it was pretty clear that it wasn't gonna have the output necessary to make the singularities. Singularities require 10k of each, so was it 10k, right? Yeah, and blocks of coal. So that's 90,000 coal. There's not enough coming from the cloches. So this was the setup that replaced that. This was the test initially used, and this was the full setup. So there's just a bunch of different seeds placed in here. Use the builder to place the seeds and then remove them as well with the clearing card if needed. And these item collectors to suck them up and then actually get formed into the items necessary and then put into the compressors. I don't think we used certain things weren't actually made into singularities from here. I think some stuff just the balance was off and we just weren't getting enough resources, and we eventually got the creative fluid tank and just used that instead. But for the most part, most singularities did come from here, I think. Yeah, if I go under, there's just the 63 blocks down of growth accelerators, so they basically grow instantly. I mean, you can see how fast they grow. And they're popping. I could also do this, turn it off. This was a cool little thing. So it's wireless redstone. This is just the Ender IO redstone conduits that send the signal. Wireless redstone is linked to this, which is then linked to all of these. So if I turn off, they no longer are activating the block. So like it's just essentially what a right click is. But if I turn it back on, they keep going. So that was cool. Botania. So Botania was a fun setup. So this was actually it didn't work. There was some weird balancing issues with the pools. Some pools would empty faster than others, but I mean for the most part it was because like you'd go to bed and then you wake up and every single pool would be completely full again because we had it's not here anymore, but we would have TNT being created just from energy. Here, let me try to find the machine. Yeah, the material stonework factory. All right. So that would make sand. The gunpowder would come from gravel, I believe. Crushing gravel. No. So the flint would come from crafting gravel. Gravel came from the material stonework factory, and the flint would be crushed into gunpowder. And that was just kind of finding the right balance of how many of them each machine to like make it so the sand and the gunpowder was balanced properly. That took a little bit of work, but not really. And then, those would be fed into here. This would detect new blocks being placed or block updates. So when this mana spreader stopped spreading, it would know there's nothing here and to place another one. And then these were all full. And then as for automation for this, we actually had conduits like going from like all around like this, like in a full grid with droppers. The droppers, it would be on round robin so that each mana spreader would get stuff equally, which the first ones would obviously end up losing more over time because you're not crafting however many mana pools necessary, but it wasn't that big of a deal. It never really came up to be an issue. But is this actually automated? So I wonder, this will kind of show on a smaller scale because this is the creative mana pool what was happening. So let me make this craftable. Yep. So this would get fed into here. So how did this work exactly? I think we had an ME interface attached to this chest somewhere over in our lab. Since these were linked, it would get instantly put into this dropper. Dropper would drop, and then the filter picks up all different sorts of things that are created from the mana pool itself. Yeah, just a pulse to actually make it drop. So that was the general automation setup. We didn't have any runes automated or anything. There wasn't. I mean, automating runes is a pain in the ass, and you're not making them enough for it to be worth it, in my opinion. This is a cool thing that Murray made, the big mushroom with all the nice interior. I don't think we actually used it for any crafting or anything. It was just, a cool little building. A cool big building. What else? So that was that. There was really nothing special about, like, blood magic. Do I even have a portal going to blood magic? Surely do. There's a regular setup. I hated the alchemy tables the most. Demonic Will was a pain as well, but alchemy tables suck because there were just like layers to it to get the, I think it's Draft of Angelus is necessary for some things. So like this goes a layer down, this goes a layer down, and then this pufferfish is, pufferfish. I forget how we were snagging pufferfish. Might have just been manually fishing for them, which sucks. But that's that. Regular blood magic. Environmental tech, pretty much the same. Just kind of regular environmental tech. It was just being efficient with mostly the early game stuff. Once you get to like T4, you're getting enough resources where you can kind of on the fly see what's happening, so like if it's set up right, like if the right lenses and whatnot. Whereas like your early ones, you basically need to rely on them running overnight, like your T1s, your T2s, to make sure, and like you don't know how many of each resource you're getting in like the following morning. You just have to wait and see. But we were pretty good with that. It didn't really take too long to get to T6. We also started it when we were already in a pretty good spot. So I think we, what's the name of it? Terra? Yeah. Terrestrial artifacts. So we had these on Autocraft. These are pretty crazy to make. But these are used to make litherite, I think. Right? Yeah, fluid transposer with Enderium, and it makes litherite crystals. And then these can be replicated. So we had UU matter for days by this point as well. So I'm actually surprised we had it on Autocraft. I must have not noticed that the litherite can be replicated. I thought it was going to be necessary to Autocraft it. This was for fun over there. That one wasn't really necessary. We actually do have a nuclear craft place. This is I'll show this more later, but this is for certain things for creative stuff. Pretty much the only reason this exists. Draconic. This isn't Draconic. This is just our combo crafting area, but felt kind of fitting to put it here with all the other really late game stuff. Draconic crafting. Got the chaotic fusion crafting, but this is a full T8. Draconic wasn't. It was pretty much all manual. I'm pretty sure, like, everything would be placed here manual, whatever was needed for Draconic stuff. But it would be done in a way where it was in bulk. So if I knew that we needed like 12 awakened cores, I wouldn't be doing it one at a time. I would put 12 of each down and then start mass crafting, sending an absolute fucking shitload of energy to these so that it crafts basically instantly. Nuclear craft. So this is like this melted down on purpose to get this fluid. I think that's pretty much the only reason we needed that. The fusion crafting core is gone here, but this was used for just certain byproducts from the fusion crafting core. This was necessary for Thaumcraft shit, obviously. The rifts, they would, what, the seeds or something? Yeah, I forget exactly why it sucked. It was funny how so this dropper, like there used to be a rift right here. You can see all, bruh. And I would feed the rifts by just putting like cobblestone, of like an outrageous amount of cobblestone here, and just dropping it like at insane speeds. So like stacks and stacks would just be entering. Dude, come on guys, stop attacking me. Satellite's not really worth looking at. Just a satellite. Oh, so for a lot of environmental tech stuff like seeds, you need premium essence, intermedium, superium, or whatever, whatever you needed. We didn't have seeds for like inferium to build up to supremium. We were the other way around because you get 4 supremium per wither kill. So one just died, right? Did one just die? No. I'm waiting for one to die. But yeah, we would use the supremium and then craft that down into the sub recipes instead of building up. It was a lot easier to go that way because what is it? 250. One supremium is 256 inferium. I think that's the. So this should say 169. There it is. So yeah, that still works. Surprisingly, these used to break out way more. They don't break out anymore, but they were fucking going crazy. Like you would come here and there would be withers like just like flying around. Wasn't a big deal for us, but like we'd be like showing the wither farm to people, and like Lou died from it. I think that's basically all the different areas. So this is just all the different tech. Not necessary anymore, but this our original induction matrix was just energy. That's how we stored energy. That was our big energy storage for a while. Our replicators and mass fabs and everything. Mass fabs. What is it? 1.7.1. Matter fabs were outside for the longest time. Moved them in here eventually. Once we were probably in a point where UU matter wasn't even give a fuck. We had so much. What is this? Oh, just making. I think we're good on snowballs. Anything else notable in here? I guess the molecular assembler tree system is cool. Makes it's optimal for maxing out your channels. I don't know why this one's 31, not 32. All the other ones are 32. Same with the middle one. Yeah. So they all have upgrades, max acceleration cards in them. So we probably still have quite a bit of crafting storage. I might have to go and oops. Interface. Yeah, so plenty. But I mean, look at all the different crafting recipes. It's pretty nutty. Quite a bit. So that's pretty much that first floor. Second floor. This is funny because if I go beneath, there's actually a teleposer from Blood Magic there. Because this was initially set up outside, and I didn't want to redo everything, so I teleposed everything inside, and it actually worked for the most part. This crazy setup was basically any like gas or like nuclear craft gas or like mech fluid, like all the different kind of crazy gases and fluids were made here. This would just be like repurposed to actually pull that off. It was always a pain, but it was not. We were running out of space, and there wasn't really any good ways to do it. That would have been like, okay, this is almost so time consuming. It's not really worth it. This is how we made the rods and stuff and gear. I think is gears in here? No, plates. Wires. We actually this is for steel and iron rods amongst other things. What other things though? Where's oh, in here. Just steel and iron rods. This is for everything. This is we were using and I wish we switched this out earlier. I didn't realize how different the Empower is what we were using forever instead of combo crafting, which was just dumb because look at how fast this is in comparison. I mean, you don't really have anything to compare it to, but what's happening here? It just did it. It basically touches this and it instantly charges and goes away. And then as for iron rods, I don't know why I did that, but I don't know. Maybe we just left it because it was funny, or there was like whatever, it works. Anything else notable in here? I don't think so. Oh, titanium. I think that's pretty much all this was used for. I'm sure there was some other things. We'll find out right here. Oh, a lot of things. Make Miriam in there? Oh, yeah, because it needs the glass. All right. Cool. A lot of stuff in there. Let's go to the third floor. Why the fuck can't I go in? Oh, probably because that was the second floor and I'm a total dumbass. This is cool. A cool setup. Papa Smurf actually showed me this one. I don't think we were doing it manually, but it wasn't as good as this with the precision dropper. And these vacuum chests, these were really nice as well. So these vacuum chests are sucking up specific things based off the filters. It's all what will be created from the atomic reconstructor. So if I do row, it'll drop the gem in there. And the pressure plate sets this off to actually start triggering. And then when it goes away, there's nothing on the pressure plate, so it stops. This was for the circuits. I don't think circuits are used too much. What are they used in? Some advanced rocketry stuff. Intricate circuit boards were used for this. Yeah, not too much. I don't think it was. Probably could have done this manually and it might have been even more time efficient, but you know, cool to have. This setup was almost entirely for creative stuff. I think resin was a nice, or rosin, the actual physical, like the solid, the rubber, fucking whatever, was a nice byproduct of this because that's kind of annoying to come by. This setup was for cinnabar and rich slag. So I think we induction smelted gold clocks with sand to make. Let me see if this is right. There's a gold clock. And you get 4 gold back, 20% rich slag. So you can recraft your gold clock if you have infinite redstone, which that's not hard to come by. You can use... There's a plant that makes infinite redstone, but I think we basically had it already going with seeds, mystical agriculture seeds, so we didn't really... It wasn't a big deal, redstone come by. So that was rich slag, and then I think cinnabar, we were going off a 5% chance from pulverizing gold ore. I think that's what we did. Either, because there was no good way to get redstone ore other than just quarrying for it, but I don't think we did that. Not as much of a sure thing. So we pulverize the gold ore. We got gold ore from these guys, the auto sieves. We go here. So if you get gold ore pieces from auto sieves, and then you can make it into gold ore and then pulverize it. So you do that enough times, you're going to get a lot of cinnabar. Cinnabar is necessary for these signal cell frames, which are used quite a bit. I think also for platinum. Yeah, because when you do you get a 100% chance at platinum. I think it's... Oh no, we could make platinum essence, but you do need it for your initial platinum. But yeah, signal and cell frames are important. Machine structures for what is this, advanced rocketry? Yeah. And then, you know, certain recipes. Oops. Could have sworn this made... It did. Resonant cell frames as well. And resonant cell frames are used in a lot of recipes for late game stuff. So that was necessary. All this stuff is just basic machines, like, you know, crushers and... What's this? Electric furnace, probably a zillion overclockers. And that was just for, like, basic automation. The inner stuff is where things get wacky. And then the 4th floor is real wacky. Real crazy. This is where we have our extended crafting and everything. This probably already has all this. Yeah. So these two used to be on top of this, and this was used to make our ultimate ingots, so we could auto-craft them. Some of the stuff for ultimate ingots we definitely like had to manually do. Let me just go to craftable. But we have enough of everything in here, so this will actually, this kind of simulates what would have happened over here, and it would have been auto-crafted. They're just going to dump into this chest when everything is all ready. I'm pretty sure it'll happen, like, yeah, like all at once. It's pretty cool. And that's with package auto. And you'll see the recipe there. There's a recipe for a lot of stuff in there. This was resonant cell frames in Anglicite. So if we go to, I don't know why this is in here. What's this for? Oh, okay. Because it requires more than what can be sent, or it can't be sent through an interface, the stuff for this, I'm pretty sure. Like, it requires more than necessary, so we would send everything. And if a recipe required more than 9 ingredients, so if I go to resonant cell for the full one, you can see this is way more than 9. You can't use an ME interface for that, because it's only going to allow up to 9 for your crafting pattern. So we would use these packages, which can, I mean, they can support the entire ultimate crafting table. So that says, well, you know, it says a lot about them, how much they can actually send over. So we would send, so like for example, that resonant cell frame would go through here. You can see it's blue, light blue, white, light blue. I go to draconic. where our extended crafting stuff was as well over here. What's up, spider? You'll see light blue, white, light blue. So it gets sent into here and then filtered to each different pedestal. The order doesn't matter for these when it comes to the extended crafting with the crafting course. So that was nice. Didn't have to. Actually, does the order matter? I don't think it does. Holy shit, it might. Alright, the order might have mattered. And if it did, which it probably did, considering these are all set up this way. But yeah, we get sent over and piped into here, and then piped back into the ME system. This is goes straight into the ME system. So do we have? Let's see. Do we have marble stairs? No, so I'll put regular marble stairs, and then yeah, you can see it got piped back in. Okay. That is basically... Well, that's not everything. That was just the extended crafting stuff. This was for our nuclear craft. This is how we made our deuterium. The ender storage is fucking amazing. You see people using like quantum entangloporters and shit. Like, dude, why would you use that when you can just use ender tanks and ender chests, like, with different encodings on them? This is how we got liquid DNA right here. So I would go around with the scoop, kill a bunch of fucking beehives and shit, get all the bees and just shove them into a ender pouch. Ender pouch. So you can see purple, white, purple on this ender pouch. Purple, white, purple. They go into here, go into the DNA extractor, and die, and go into here. Nice way to get DNA. This is like mutagen and shit. Yep. Propolis. What was that used for? That was created from squeezing honey drops, which was gotten get from honeycombs. What was it used for? Dude, what was this shit? What did we need? You know, maybe we didn't need it. I don't know. This is just for tier 6 crafting seeds. You can see it right there. You need the sewage with this crafting recipe. Sewage we got normal way. Just make cows stand on a sewer. This is our ender craft or ender crafting, right? That's what it, whatever the fuck it is. That's where we have that. That shit's annoying. It has to be manual. There's no really good way to automate that as far as I'm aware. Probably is, but I don't know it. And then this was for primal mana. So if I open this, primal mana. So basically we would shove the what was it? It was the Botania product. Here, I'll just look it up. So there's Osgo glass, which is easy to make, and then Mirian, which is cobalt, elementium, mana steel, terra steel, and then glass. So actually, let me go back to this because this is interesting. So that's one way to get the Miriam, but we actually did it through the metallurgic fabricator, which is where that titanium came from as well. Much easier to do it this way and then just melt it down. But anyways, we would put a bunch of that in like certain ratios to get the primal mana, and then we would use the fluid cell and canning machine to make the coolant, the IC2 coolant, and pipe that in as well, and then you would just like slowly see this turn into primal mana. And that's how we got primal mana. which is required for a lot of late game stuff. Okay. So now we can look at some creative stuff. So we first started with this, making the creative capacitor. You can see a bunch of the creative capacitors in the Draconic area. Plutonium. So this is the recipe we used, was this bottom one for pellets. Plutonium was a bitch to make from what I remember. Because plutonium, we have to make plutonium blocks. Replicate tiny piles of plutonium. Man-infused metal, it's pretty simple with the metallurgic fabricator, especially once you have the Manasteel auto crafted like I showed before. Cobalt, it's cobalt. Cyanite, here I'll show where we got our cyanite from. It's actually down here. We used our extreme reactors, huge extreme reactor with like it was on purpose inefficient so that we would blast through our fuel and make a bunch of cyanite. And whatever energy was, I guess, a nice-ish bonus. Didn't really need it at that time. And then empowered palace, so, you know, it's combo crafting stuff. So, palace, powered palace next. So you can see all the ingredients. Can we get there in time? Probably not. Already done. Did it finish? Nope, there it goes. Yep. So that's how we got that. And that's how we got our plutonium. And then from there, we could get our pellets. That would be used in other stuff as well. Like I think it's in here as well. Yep. In the creative generator. IC2. Ultimate ingots I already showed. Resonant cell frames I basically showed. That was with that combo crafting that's sent to the Ender storage. A resonant cell already showed the Signum cell frames and the thermionic fabricator for that. These recipes, some of these were a bitch. I hate making bio. Oh no, bioplastic was easy. What was annoying here? I guess nothing was really annoying. Oh, okay. Cubic boron nitride. Crystallizing boron nitride, which you get from a chemical reactor of boric acid and ammonia. Boric acid comes from diborane in water. Diborane comes from molten boron and hydrogen. Hydrogen you got to separate. I thought there was an electrolytic separator going on here somewhere. Yeah, electrolytic separator makes hydrogen. And that's for the hydrogen part of that. Molten boron, you just melt down boron. Water's water. Ammonia. Nitrogen comes. So like we would use the nitrogen collectors for that. Liquid hydrogen is concentrating hydrogen. Like you can see how fucking annoying that shit is. There's a lot of that, like randomly around this late game stuff. Ender electron tubes are easy. Thermionic fabricator comes into play again. Nothing else was too crazy for this one. This was a little annoying. We had to go get these. Were they ender combs? I forget how we got this. All of these are easy autocraft stuff. Like the advanced plating, like, I mean, we'll go up to elite plating, right? Elite plating. Cancel this. You can hear that just pop to make the rotocross. And yeah, that would make the elite plating. Anglesite is fucking awful, dude. Awful. So this is stuff that you can only get from other planets. Like energized stuff would drop on other planets, and you just have to mine it, and you would get that. So you needed to go into advanced rocketry for all these clathrates. Rich Slag already showed that. Lithrate. All the environmental tech stuff is straightforward. Santian Ender is straightforward, just like Solvile stuff. Octatic capacitors are octatic capacitors. I guess charging the Draconium, it's not hard. It's just you need a good energy source to get there. But if you're doing this stuff, you already have a good energy source. This one's Soulbinder and Emerald, easy. Weather Crystal, pulsating, vibrant. Ender Crystals are a little annoying, but so like stuff like Ender Crystals. This is just weird. I mean, you gotta go get the Soul Vials of Enderman. Go to the end to do that. Make your Vibrant Crystals, and we would do like several at a time, depending on how much of each stuff we needed. The Entangled Singularity. Drop one Singularity and one Ender Dust and cause an explosion. What is this? What is it? How many items have to go in here? 256,000 of an item. I don't know what we use to make our singularities, but we had a lot of stuff, so it wasn't that big of a deal. These were all auto-crafted. These are a pain to auto-craft if you don't set them up right. I forget the exact ore dick stuff, but you gotta make sure that's properly set up or it's gonna get stuck. This is just advanced crowd. These were all manual, the solar array stuff. Ultimate Catalyst is a pain-ish. Not too bad. Rainbow generators. The annoying part of this was the flux capacitor, just because the amount of energy cores and draconic stuff needed. These were easy. The speed upgrades. Pinium cores are just making several auto-crafting recipes in a row and just seeing if you get the mats for it. And the rainbow generators are pretty easy. All these generators are, the recipes are no problem to make, so not the worst thing ever. You get rainbow generators and you put them in there. That's basically it for this one. Dilithium you just get from other planets. Also used to power your whatever the fucking thing is to warp. Yeah, so that's it for that. Well, I guess I mean the Benetoire. I don't know how to say. That's the Draft Evangelist I was talking about earlier. Thaumcraft shit sucks all the time, no matter what. Everything else is pretty easy. Ethereal Slate's easy. Pixie Dust is easy. So this one's not too bad. It's just very manual. And then after this, I think we went to the Creative Fluid Tank. This was probably like just to get our feet wet, essentially. I think, even though Creative Fluid Tank is like the one you want the most. Once you get that, you have infinite of every resource. You just put it in, like you just use ingot formers and shit. So this one was just a fucking super pain. Getting all these different liquids sucked. Bucket of blood was, yeah, when you melt down rotten flesh, that's easy. Goat milk was a pain, just finding the goat. It was easy. Liquid DNA we already had. This is ethanol. Ethanol was made from what? Oh, I think that was, the crude oil place? Is there ethanol around here? You got ethanol in you? Refined fuel. All right, let's look up what ethanol is. Fractioning still, biomass. Okay, squeeze. Like, yeah. You're fermenting stuff and you're getting biomass and making ethanol out of that. It's just more like multi-step things that are a pain. Like, that's just something you gotta set up. Fruit juice is squeezing fruits. Not much there. Mutagen was really annoying because we needed to make enriched uranium, which required getting tiny clumps, which was crushing uranium and blah, 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 blah. And then, so it's not the worst, but still had to set it up. And then mutagen from that Biomass. Biomass was needed for ethanol, so we already had that. Black hole tanks are a little annoying, not too bad. These are replicated. These are fairly easy. Ultimate, this is auto crafted. Yeah, so these are all easy. It's just you need a lot of them. Resin cell frames already did. Empowered oil, that was a pain in the ass because of just going down like the list here. So we'd have to get our refined canola oil. We'd have to get canola oil specifically. And then put these seeds, empowered canola seeds, into the refined canola oil to get crystallized oil. Then we have to get empowered canola seed, which we have to use our fucking draconic crafting shit or combo crafting, and then put that in crystallized oil to get empowered oil. It's annoying, but it probably only takes like 15 minutes realistically. It's just a pain in the ass. Witch water took me forever to figure out what the fuck was going on there, but it's just like using these weird like barrels and shit, and I don't know. I don't even really remember that one. Demon metal is demon metal. Corium was that the meltdown at the nuclear craft place. You get corium from melting down the reactor. Molten draconium is just melting down draconium. Sewage, getting cows to shit. Free oil, that was that setup. Floor? No. Yes. So this last thing will have tree oil. So that this whole setup, which was just growing wood. I mean, I guess that's what it is. You're not growing a tree in here, but putting the wood in here, and then yeah, you know, sawmill, resin, tree oil, probably augmented, right? Something's got to be augmented. Yeah, resin funnel. UU matters. UU matter. Blazing pyrotheum is, you know, actually pyrotheum dust melted down. Awakened cores don't need. These are all just draconic shit. Ultimate catalyst already talked about. Pahoho, is this still out here? This was annoying to me because I just didn't know what I was supposed to do. I'm still not sure how or why this worked. Like, certain faces needed to be lined up. Had to be all these IC2 things. It couldn't be, like, mech cables. It wouldn't work. So the MFE would have to obviously have power. Go to this Stirling generator, and then you'd have lava in here, and it would make ho-ho lava. That one was fucking whack, dude. Erothium is erothium. Molten clay. Essence we probably got from Liquid XP because we had so much, and we just used the fluid dictionary to change it to essence. Tritium, byproduct of nuclear craft fusion reactors. We might have used heavy water for this in electrolyzer. I don't quite remember. Resin ender, gelid cryothium, it's all straightforward. Petrothium. Refined fuel was that the crude oil place, the immersive. Was it in here? Refined fuel, so it comes from naphtha. Naphtha comes from something with crude oil, I think, right? Where is refined fuel? Refined fuel. Fractioning still. Naphtha. Naphtha comes from crude oil in the fractioning still. So there must be a second fractioning still, surely. Maybe not. Maybe we just used one fractioning still. Either way, this is where we got our crude oil. And this is where we turned it into naphtha and refined fuel. Mirian is Mirian. Use that for the thermionic fabricator. And neutron is the byproduct of fusion reactor. So that's how. I don't think these are, you know, all the other stuff is straightforward, or I already talked about. Like Anglicite, already talked about that. Awakened cores, you know, just draconic crafting. So then after doing the fluid tank, did the creative generator, and this one is it's really straightforward. All of this stuff is actually kind of easy to make, especially since we've already had like the infrastructure in place from the creative fluid tank. The only thing that was annoying was these high voltage solar arrays. And the reason they were annoying was how long they took to craft. And they would kind of gum up your auto crafting. So you were stuck with no auto crafting while this was going. Just you can't even do 4 at once. Like you just don't have the bytes available, the CPU, whatever. So 3 was the max we could do. But just look like how much there is to do for it. 70k cobblestone. Like 3,000. Like it's crazy. And like a lot of this stuff is already in the system. Imagine if it wasn't in the system. Like it would take at least an hour. Sometimes like 2 or 3, depending on how much of each resource we had. So it was a pain to make the creative generator. And after the generator, we went to the vending upgrade. Once you get the vending upgrade, you win the game. Like, you basically have everything you need. So, I didn't know about this at the time. You could actually put your one creative fluid tank on a storage drawer and, like, have that, like, be defined. Like, oh, I only want creative fluid tanks in here. And then take your fluid tank out. So, you only need to make one, technically. And I didn't know that. We made 2. Because, you know, you don't really care too much about the creative generator. Like, we didn't make a second gas tank either. Oh, they're right. The fucking gas tank. Ugh, we did do that first. Rocket fuel. Actually, there's not a lot of gas in here. The only... What's this? Tritium? Neutron fluid. Primal mana. Liquid DNA. Like, we had all this stuff. Rocket fuel was easy to get. The only thing that was hard was this gas tank frame. Getting the slurry for each of these, that whole setup on the second floor with all that crazy wiring and machines was making these slurries. They were so annoying. Like, draconium slurry. Let's look that up. You can't even look up draconium slurry. Like, it's fucking... I don't even remember how we did it. It's just... It sucked. It was so bad. What if I type in slurry? Nothing. Just know that was horrible. And I wouldn't wish that shit on my worst enemies. But everything else in the gas tank was actually really simple. Ludicrite was annoying. Ender Amethyst came from seeds, but otherwise the way you get the seeds, the initial ones, is by using terrestrial artifacts. Plutonium blocks I already went over. Alamite, metallurgic infuser, which we already had for titanium. Indirium, elementium, everything else was straightforward, and then liquid DNA. That's how we got our ludicrite. Miriam, yeah, everything else here is already described. They're easy. The vending upgrade. Same thing with here. Everything was basically described in here already. The hard part about the vending upgrade was really just getting the other creative items. Like, I mean, getting the ultimate catalyst, like getting the ultimate ingots for this was annoying. Like, just making sure we had the materials for it, but like we already knew how to do it. The infinity ingots were, I mean, making the singularities. Whoops, I just full screened it. I didn't want to do that. Making the singularities was annoying. Neutronium ingots are not that bad. neutron fluid, and then titanium dust, iridium, and an alloy furnace gives you this. These are easy to come by. Or you could, and I think we did both. I think we actually had a handful come from this neutron collector, just running for like days and just like hitting it with time in a bottle and shit. But not all of it. Infinity catalysts. These all. So the way the way we did this, we already had our creative fluid tank, so we only needed one of this, and then we could have melted it down and made infinity ingots. So we just needed one. So we would look at the recipe for the infinity catalyst, look how many singularities of each type in here we would need. Look at the ultimate, match them up. Basically just counting how many of each singularity we would need. And then making as many as required. And then same thing with like how many ultimate stews do we need? How many endist pearls do we need? Which, you know, these are all they were hard to come by, but as long as you did everything in bulk and just had the numbers, you needed the numbers of how much of each thing you needed so you could do that one thing all at once. If you miscalculated, it was pretty annoying to go back and have to make like one more endist pearl. But if you made like 12 endist pearls at once, well, that's not too bad. You just put a stack of 12 down on each one, get 12 of these solid ender eyes and whatnot. So it was hard, but it was doable when you do it that way. And then once you have those, I mean, chaotic cores are chaotic cores. It's just draconic. Crystal matrices are easy. Everything else here wasn't too bad. We had everything else. T5 arrays are annoying, but like if you look at the recipe, like we already had high voltage solar arrays on Autocraft. Singularities we were already doing. This one was no, the HDPE sheets and pellets were annoying, but we were able to use the setup that we had to power this, our turbines, we were able to repurpose to make our pellets. A lot of the same machines were used in the same like sequences, so that's how we did that. Other than that, a creative essence, wasn't hard. Void metal was annoying. You just had to go late game Thaumcraft. Insanium was easy because we already had so much premium from our wither farm. Base essence, I think we. I mean, we were in space by this point, but initially because this is required for like your crafting seeds, we were able to get the Tinker's Construct modifier to get prosperity shards. That's how we initially got them. I forget how, but we were fortunate enough to do that. I don't quite remember. And that was how we. I mean, at that point, everything else we knew how to make, and the infrastructure was there. So we got the creative vending upgrade, and once you get that, you have infinite of everything. So we never had, like, once you have that creative vending upgrade, like, it's like, oh man, Anglesite sucks to make. Oh, we don't have to make it anymore. It's like, oh, Resonant Cell Frame sucks to make. You don't gotta make it anymore. Like, if we go down here, I'm pretty sure, I would be very surprised if we didn't have chests full of that stuff, like Anglesite. Yeah. Like, everything that was annoying to make, we definitely have of those. And then we were just like, if we wanted something in bulk, we would just throw it another one down. Because when you create a vending upgrade, which you get two for a very specific reason, you put one on a drawer, and then you put the second one on that drawer. So you have infinite creative vending upgrades, and then you can just make it infinite of everything. Questing RAM, infinite questing RAMs. That doesn't work, by the way. Our questing RAM outside will disappear. You can only have one questing RAM, like, in this vicinity, I think. And, like, I mean, stuff like this, once you have, again, like, all of these are easy to make once you have that creative vending upgrade. So, like, the mana pool, make one Mirian, you get infinite Mirian, one Benetuel, you get infinite. Yeah, we had to make some of these flowers and do some crafting, but it wasn't bad to get the creative mana pool. One ultimate catalyst, you get all the ultimate. Like again, it's just the game is over once you get that. You beat the game. So we got to that point, and we played for a little bit more, messing around, but you know, like, what else do you do after that? You're basically done. So that was how we beat Enigmatica 2 in as brief a way as I could put possible. I guess I never showed the advanced rocketry stuff. This is how we made our circuits, by the way. The circuits ended up coming through this cutting machine, which is so much faster than the presses. Pretty cool, though. Best pack ever made. Better than the only one that comes close for me is Infinity Evolved Expert, but that's so dated at this point. Enigmatica 2 Expert still feels like really good, even with modern Minecraft. So, yep, that is all she wrote.